Yesterday, I offered to them, we'll take down $1 trillion if you add $1 trillion in.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about President Trump threatening to sign an executive order to give Americans some relief from the virus if Congress cannot decide on what they want to do. Okay, you got the left in Congress, the usual suspects: Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi. They're trying to spend over $2 trillion really in an effort to bail out their failing Democratic cities. Okay, you're talking about budget shortfalls that's been going on long before the virus. They're trying to shore that up with all this money coming from the virus. They did the same thing last time, and then they were doing like pet projects. You're talking about $100 million to the Kennedy Center. It's like, what does that got to do with the virus? Okay, I don't really care about this art center. Can I get some food? Can I get some clothes on my back, some shelter? Trump is trying to accomplish that. Okay. And the House Republicans are trying to do the same thing. They're trying to keep the spending down to like $1 trillion, which is way too much, really. But if Democrats went over $2, and Nancy Pelosi, a moron, talking about, oh, well, look, we'll take $1 trillion away from our bill proposal if you guys add in another $1 trillion. It's like, I'm not a rocket scientist, but if you want at least $2 trillion and they want to spend $1 trillion, if you take $1 trillion away, that brings you down to one, which is where they at. If they add another one in, that brings them back to where you were at to begin with. This doesn't make any sense. Maybe I'm just seeing that wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below. But before we go any further, let's go ahead and roll this clip. In this clip, you'll see President Trump speak about the executive order and what he may do as a result of Congress not being able to get it together. After we get done with that, I'll talk about what he said there. Then I'll give you my 2 cents, my deep, detailed analysis, and then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
My administration continues to work in good faith to reach an agreement with Democrats in Congress that will extend unemployment benefits, provide protections against evictions. A terrible thing happens with evictions, not fair. It wasn't their fault that we were infected with this disease from China, and get relief to American families. Yet tragically, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer continue to insist on radical left-wing policies that have nothing to do with the China virus, nothing to do with it at all. So you have a virus that comes in, and you have people in Congress that don't want to help our people. If Democrats continue to hold this critical relief hostage, I will act under my authority as president to get Americans the relief they need. And what we're talking about is deferring the payroll tax for a period of months till the end of the year, and I can extend it at a certain period. Hopefully, I will be here to do the job. We're going to do the job. We've been doing a job like nobody could. Nobody would, actually. And so we're going to have the payroll tax go till the end of the year, and it'll be retroactive to July 1st. So we're going to go back to July 1st, and it'll go to the end of the year, payroll tax. At the end of the year, it may be extended. We're going to enhance unemployment benefits through the end of the year. So unemployment benefits will be, that's a big one, will be brought out to the end of the year, and defer student loan payments and forgive interest until further notice. So students who are paying student loans, and in many cases they're not even allowed to go back into their colleges. Extend the eviction moratorium. We will be extending that so people aren't evicted, not their fault.
All right, so you saw that, you heard that. Now, shout out to the president for taking some action, or at least saying he will if things don't get done, because that's what needs to happen. Okay, this should have already been accomplished probably a month or two ago, rather than getting way into August. Unemployment benefits are already ran. Now people are struggling. They're trying to start school back. Meanwhile, parents don't have the jobs. They don't have any kind of money. So it's like, what am I going to do? All right. Now, before I go any further, my solution, just an elephant in the room, my solution would be to open everything back up. Stop all this nonsense with the distancing and the masks and, halfway closed, halfway open, hours reducing. Let's just cut it out. Okay. It's no point in trying to hide from this virus. It's not going to go anywhere. Okay. Fauci came out on TV and said, even if there's a vaccine, there's no guarantee it's going to be effective. It probably won't be effective. So if the lead guy, the media's darling on the left, is saying that the vaccine probably won't work, and we know that the virus is not as deadly as we thought it was from the very beginning, you have more and more cases, but the cases are jumping at a rate that far exceeds the death rate. So if that's going on, we know it's not that bad, it's not that deadly. Are we just going to continue to ruin our economy, to just put mountains of debt on our back? We already spent $6 trillion in virus relief. You're talking about $2 trillion more, $3 trillion more. I mean, you're throwing out these T numbers like they're nothing. Okay, $1 trillion. Can you imagine how much $1 trillion is? To even get to $1 billion is an absurd amount. To get to $1 million is an accomplishment, but to 1,000 million, which is 1 billion, is an even crazier amount. To get to 1,000 billion, and you're going to spend multiple of those in just a matter of months. I mean, what are we doing? Let's stop all this nonsense. But I digress. My whole point is that Congress, they can't get it together. They're talking about spending trillions, and they want to bail out failing Democratic cities, and they're arguing over that. Nancy Pelosi doing Common Core math, talking about we'll take $1 trillion away if you give us $1 trillion back, and that'll be even. Stupid stuff. Trump's like, you know what? How about I do this? How about I sign an executive order? Now, personally, I'm all in favor of doing that if it costs less than what the left and the right are proposing. All right, let's just get down to the core of what we need. Let's not have any kind of pork. Let's not have any kind of, bunch of red tape and all this and that. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. But like I said from the beginning, what I would do is just open up. But if we can't open up, let's get just down to the core of what we need. Okay, the unemployment insurance, I think we need to cut that. They're talking about $600 a week extra. People were making less than that at their jobs. They were working and were just fine. They weren't on the street homeless, starving and whatnot, just working their job. So it shouldn't be that much. If the job cannot open as a result of the government, then the government should say, okay, here's enough to get you by. I think that'll make sense for 100% certain. And as far as anything else, the student loan moratorium, you can probably do that for a little while at least. And the evictions, I'm not really sure how it's going to work, because you got people that got private property, landlords and whatnot. What's going to happen to them? So if I own property and my tenants cannot be evicted, then, and it might not even be financial. You might have them in there doing drugs, selling drugs or whatever. It could be a legal reason. Okay. So this is probably just a financial, you're not paying your rent type thing. You don't want any squatters on your property. And if I'm a landlord, what's my financial recourse? Do I get PPP or whatever they want to PPE? Do I get that? Because I can't evict my tenants. I'm not sure how that whole process works, but it's got to be relief given to them if they're not allowed to evict based on financial reasons. All right. So I think what he's doing is right on point, and it just makes sense. It'll be interesting to see what the left say about this, and also the media. Are they going to try to say that Trump wants to rule by fiat? He wants to be a king? Well, look, if y'all can't get it together, if you guys can't get on the same accord or on the same page, and you can't come to a conclusion or a decision, well, let the big guy come in there and get something done. Because while y'all are arguing and bickering, the American people are like, okay, what am I going to do? Can I go to work now? Can you release this virus shutdown mandate, mask? Can you release that so I can go back to work? So I can continue to get money and pay for my family, and my kids went back to school today. I was out just around the city yesterday, and the traffic was ridiculous. I'm talking about Christmas traffic. I'm like, what's going on? Oh, they probably just announced recently that they're going to go back to school. And then the school schedule is weird. They're going to have them in school half of the week and then not half of the week. Parents got to go to work, and there got to be a schedule around that. And they might not be able to go to work because of the virus. It's so many things going on. I think we need to just get past all this. But in the meantime, in between time, let's go ahead and get some kind of stopgap measure in there. All right. And if you're going to have a bunch of pork in there, let's not pass that. Let's let it be on the president having to do it through executive order. Now, he'll get sued and whatnot, but I think that if you really want to help the American people, you wouldn't get in the way. Now, if you got people getting in the way of actual help towards American citizens, and you got to ask yourself, is it about you as a regular everyday person, as a person that may have voted for Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, or someone else? Is it about you, or is it about them and their political interests at the very top of the government? But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think that Trump is correct to pass this executive order, or at least talk about passing it? It's not been passed yet, as far as I know, but is he right to talk about passing it? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. Or is it the wrong thing? Should he leave it up to the government and let them do it? When I say government, I mean Congress. If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at with it. If Congress, they can't get their act together, if they can't agree, if you got the left talking about we want money for a new federal building and a rest stop in Arlington, or some roads, or, you know, my assistants, BMW, and some hair weave and all this and that. If you're going to get into that type of ridiculousness, then we need to just go ahead and bypass them, get them out the way if it's able to be done by law. I have no problem with that whatsoever. I'll prefer things get done by Congress and go through the right and proper channels. But if that's not possible in a situation like this, let's go ahead and bypass it and get some things done. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.